Welcome back to another episode of whatever this is. Can girls carve? Of course they can carve. Are they any good? Of course they're good. And Tay Marie is no exception. Without further ado, let's get down to business.
Hey guys, welcome back for another carving video. So I've been into wall hangers. This is some of the stuff I created over the past week or two. But today's a big day. We're finally starting it. Today, we're carving a dragon. If you've been following me for a while, you might have picked up on the fact that I've been pretty eager to carve a dragon, and a commission for one just hasn't come in yet. So today, we're just gonna carve one. We are carving today's project out of a 2.5-inch thick kiln-dried eastern white pine slab. I want this dragon to look like it is popping out of the frame. So that's the goal. Now we just have to achieve it.
Okay, I'm just gonna stop it right there. Okay. Couple of things right off the top. She's using white pine and it's kiln dried, so that's amazing. I mean, the customer will appreciate that for sure. And I think it's smart to have some of that laying around because it works really good too when you sorry about that. It works really good too when you have, you want to do some benches or something, because kiln dried wood, as opposed to just slabs that have been laying, say, drying in a barn for 2 years or whatever, those things will still leak. They'll seep. The sap will still come out with UV, with the sun's UVs. Even if you seal them, they'll just kind of like bubble up. So it's good to have them kiln dried. It kind of crystallizes the sap and they can never seep again if you have a good kiln dried board. I always have them on hand, but it's important, especially for something like this. If you're going to do any kind of, obviously she's going to have a framework around this carving. And if it's not kiln dried, if it's kiln dried, you'll see cracks automatically. You can kind of just cut the cracks off, and they're pretty stable at that point. This is going to be a very stable piece, so she can get away with carving that frame without having to worry about all the checks and cracks. Maybe losing a piece in the center or something. The other thing too is a pretty cool little carving shed she has. But I'll get into some other steps shortly. I think that's a little 25 Echo 2511. Those are nice little saws. The Steel MS 150 predated that saw. It's a tiny little saw too. I don't know if it's that small, but it's pretty small. It's very small. And I think it predated this one by about 14 years or something. Just thought I'd throw that in. Okay, I'm gonna stop it right here. It makes me wonder if this space is heated, because you can't let all that spray and all that sealer and all that stuff freeze. It's just not good to let it freeze. So I'm kind of curious to see if she has some sort of heat source in there in the wintertime when, because when she's not in there working or whatever. This is something that I want to know, because I've run into that problem over the years where I tried to keep I used to bring my spray paints and everything in the house and like put them in a couple 3-4 milk carton things by the door, and then I'd load them up on my my little Kawasaki mule and then go up to the barn. And before I had my heated shop, it was rough. So I don't know how she's doing this, if this is a heated space. Just something to keep in mind. This is just me being me. Okay, cool. She's recessing all of the, you know, she wants this thing. I can just tell she wants this thing to come out more so on the top maybe than the bottom, so that it looks like it's coming out. And she's reliefing or recessing in every little quarter of an inch. When you're dealing with a piece of wood that's only 2.5 inches thick, you have to, every little bit can look a mile deep if you do it right.
A cocoa break. Good for the soul. Plus the little marshmallows. Those are the best.
Okay, so that cut right there is a game changer, and I think she knows it, because she went, because you saw the first time when I mentioned it, she was about yay deep in the front, and then she did down below, it was a little bit less. And so the whole framework is relatively the same depth, but she pitched that bottom of that dragon down underneath there, and you can see the shadow. So that shadow is gonna play a lot into the future of whatever this carving can look like. Shadow and light are everything, and I want to see, before I go too far, I want to see if she's going to utilize the technique of using the shadow and light by turning the jaw horse where it gives her the best access to the kind of like the shadows she needs to see what she's doing. I see a lot of carvers that do not do that, and I think it's to their detriment. If they could just turn the thing just a little bit, if the sun's over here or whatever, you just turn it and just get that shadow so you can see exactly what the hell you're doing.
Okay, so do you remember how I said I want this dragon to look like he's like popping out of the frame? You can see we already have that started. His neck comes into the frame, like he's coming out of the frame. Now that we have the basic shape cut out, we're gonna go ahead and start putting in a bunch of like micro layers to really make this guy look 3D and not 2D like he looks now. He's gonna have this really cool hand reaching around from outside of the frame, grabbing onto the frame. He doesn't look that happy. We're gonna make him look like a pretty cool, angry dragon. So lots of layers here. This is definitely going to be one of the more complicated wall hangers I have attempted. So looking forward to the challenge. So let's get to it.
I'll stop right there. Okay, so what I've done in the past when it comes to like certain parts of the carving, it doesn't take much to do it either. Like, so those little I don't know, those little toothy looking horns and stuff. I have in the past added just like a, 1/2 inch or 3/4 little pieces, glued them on, so that when I was start doing the carving, I just taper them in so that you can get it would break it up quite a bit. I mean, she's gonna do a killer job, but there's a few little things that, and it takes almost no time to do it. But not that you have to cut like a perfect shape of those things out. Just lay something over top so that you get a little extra lift.
One of the cool things about carving dragons is there's not really a wrong way to carve a dragon, right? Like there's a wrong way to carve a bear, there's a wrong way to carve a deer, but a dragon is like a mythical creature, right? So we can carve this however we want. This dragon specifically is like a Western style dragon. I'm giving him a lot of spikes, some cool fins off the back, pretty much just anything that seems dragony I'm adding to this dragon. You got those front fangs that are almost snake-like. Just a lot of freedom with this piece, which it's always fun when you have freedom with your art, right? So we're gonna keep chipping away and just keep putting those layers in like I had mentioned, and then we'll be able to detail all those layers we pop in.
The only thing I'm dragging is dragon ass. That's all I'm dragging. But as you can see, the wood is flooding the front of that thing, or the wood. The sun is it's hitting that carving in such a way where it's just flooding it with light. And I can see she's just trying to find her outline and try to gauge layers, but it's so much easier when you have just a little tilt away, or sometimes you can even turn it completely the other way and just kind of start leaning it into the light. Just saying, it's critical for me. Like that's why I don't think I don't enjoy ice carving like I should, because there's no you can't manipulate shadow and light. It's just a form that, I don't know. That's just me. Maybe I'll do it again someday. But well, she's clearly not dragging ass. I'm dragging ass. Nice. So you can see she's already got a ton of depth just by giving that, inch or 3/4 of an inch curvature, and then having that spike on the spikes leaning on the back. I see where this is going. I've done 1,000 of these freaking relief carvings, so like I kind of know where she's headed. So I'll just say this. I have an apparatus in my shop. Okay. It's a tube. It's a pretty heavy, I don't know. It's like maybe, like a 3-inch or something. It's a 3-inch tube that's bolted on, or that you can either put in your jaw horse or you can bolt it to your bench. Then there's a tube that goes inside that kind of fits inside, and you can spin it around. And on top, there's like this crazy, I think I got it from an old, actually there's a couple of them I got. They're both from old satellite dishes. There's that post that comes up, and then they put these things that can tilt and twist on there, and you just tighten them down and you can lock them in place or whatever. And I took one of those and I made it so that it's on the pipe, So when I'm carving, I'll just take a couple of little screws, like not even 1-inch screws. I'll just put it in the back. So when I'm carving on this thing, I could tilt it back a little bit, I could spin it, I could turn it, I could do whatever I want. And if I'm doing a bigger one, I have a bigger one for that. It's almost like basically like a taxidermy vise. You know how they can turn stuff around, and it's basically like that. I think it's made out of old wrought iron pipe, and it works out really good. Trust me, she could benefit from that.
The tough part about chainsaw carving in general, but especially these wall hangers, is you're drawing these reference lines just to immediately get rid of them. So sometimes I can still visualize them slightly without them there, but oftentimes I have to just take a quick break and re-add them. So we are about to tackle what is most likely going to be the most difficult part of this whole carving, and that is the mouth. Trying to make this look 3D with 2 layers of teeth, because you have the foreground teeth and the background teeth, and they have to line up right. Kind of like when you're, drawing a 3D square, right? Like, things have to line up right. So if this is where the front tooth is, this is where that back tooth would be. I also want to get a tongue in there. That's what this is. So we're just gonna slowly work through this confusing mess and try to make this look good.
So right now there's a little bit of, like, it's still in full sun, but you see what I mean. Look at behind the spikes on the back, like along the far right hand side. There's that little bit of shadow that makes it pop away from the frame. And imagine if she had that for the whole thing. Trust me, it works. And it will help you see.
And my prediction was spot on. The mouth was easily the most challenging part of this entire carving, because at this point, I'm really only working with about 1 inch of material in the foreground, and I'm trying to make that inch of material look 3-dimensional, which in itself is a challenge. And you just have a lot going on in a very small area. We got the teeth, we got 2 layers of teeth, we got gums, we got a tongue. We just have a lot going on. But it's starting to look good. I'm starting to see it, guys. 4, 5, perfect.
Okay, this is a word of warning for anyone who wants to do this kind of thing. She's got this under control. It looks great. She's not going to have this problem, but I'm going to discuss right now. So you maybe you got an image of an eagle or a dragon or whatever you want to do, and you're going to carve it either 3D or like she's doing a relief thing here. Pay attention to if the subject matter is like, say, if you're doing a banking eagle or something, you have to be aware of the foreground, the background, on even along that one single solitary thing that you're trying to carve, whether it be a fish or an eagle soaring or whatever, and you're going to project an image of that, and you think, oh, that's cool, I'm going to put that on my wood. Well, if you're trying to do a 3-dimensional image, like a 3D, like a full carving of an eagle banking, the best bet, like I've run into problems where, because I use a quartering shot or something like that, and then when you draw it, it looks great, but then when you go to carve it, everything looks off, because now when you rough it out, the back wing or the bottom wing's farther, you know what I mean? Like because it doesn't translate. You have to be able to, if you're gonna get a picture of something and you're gonna carve it into a log, or you're gonna carve it into a, relief carving isn't that's not a problem, because you're only working with so much, so you can pitch things back and you can work that. But if you're going to do a 3D, a big sculpture, and you're using an image that is slightly quartering or whatever, all of your sizes are going to be kind of out of whack, if you understand what I'm saying. So like if it's whether it's a face or whatever, like say you're going to carve a bear looking right at you, easy peasy. You just get a bear, then you do the side view, and then you do the other side, then you got the top, you got the back view. But if you're just going to do one coming out like like with its head turned or whatever, and you're going to try to carve that, draw that picture on a log, you have to be aware of its body position. I found myself getting into so much trouble. Just recently, as I was doing a laminated eagle, the image I had was perfect, but then when I when I put it on the board and I drew it all out, one side was bigger than the other side. And I was like, that's not going to work. It might work for a relief carving, but it's not going to work for a 3D eagle, if you know what I'm saying. It doesn't work. It doesn't translate, because when you do go to carve it, one side of the wing's this far short than the other one, because it's a banked shot and one's closer to you than the other one. If you get what I'm saying, hopefully it translates to your ears coming out of my brain. And let's continue, shall we? Looks like she's either using a 70C, it looks like maybe a 6-inch Samurai Legend, which is my go-to for freaking everything relief. I mean, I probably would have roughed it in with maybe a small gas sock, like she did, kind of probably get it pretty close, and then I'd start with that. As you can see, the sun is starting to come around, and you're now being able to see a bit more shadow underneath where she's working. Wow, she's got a great technique on her teeth. She has a great technique on the teeth of the dragon. She kind of pitched them back, as you see there. It's got that little flat that kind of angles down. That's going to help sell that depth to the. That's probably more important doing that than any other thing she's going to do, because it's literally giving the tooth depth from front to back, which sets her up for, it's going to make that mouth look a mile deep. So going back to the when I was telling you about that swivel head thing I got for my doing these things, what I would do is I'd get a dummy board on the back. I'd screw the dummy board to the maybe it might be like a 1-inch or a 2-inch or whatever it is, a dummy board, like whether it be this wide, it could be a 6x or something. I'd screw that to that, and then I would screw the back of the 6x to the frame, the back of the frame, where I knew I wouldn't be carving, I wouldn't be going deep in those areas, and that's how I would attach that.
Okay, let's step away from our dragon for just a minute and go on a short little side quest to see some other projects that I have been working on. So we have this horse, which I think turned out really cute. I have since painted this and it came out awesome. Moose is definitely a staple. I plan to make more of these, as well as more deer, and just some various other projects that I have been working on. Almost all of these have been finished and actually shipped to their new homes. So if you want to see some of these pieces all finished up, jump onto my Facebook page, TM Custom Carvings. I'm really active on Facebook, so give me a follow there. But let's get warmed up and back to our dragon. As you can see, we have some light snowfall, but we are jumping back into this project. Look how epic this is looking. My phone got too cold yesterday and stopped recording, so unfortunately you guys...
Okay, I'll stop it right there. So this is what you can tell right now. So now she's in like a more of an ambient light where it's not direct light. So now you can see the softness and the claw on that thing looks really good. It looks like it's, you know, coming right over the top. And if it wasn't for Shadow and her manipulating it so well, that would never look that good. You know, the angles, the depth, everything is, she's just really got this this relief carving thing down to a science already, and she's just going to get better. She's only been doing this for a very short time, so hats off to you.
But we have that hand reaching around. It's pretty cold today, but I think we're gonna be able to finish this in time before my phone starts acting up again. So we're gonna bury this eye a little bit because they tend to have sunken in eyes, at least the dragon references that I've been looking at. This original bump that I created was just to set the placement for the eye. I'm gonna remove that now, and then we're gonna put the eye further back. That way it has a sunken in appearance. This is a Cutsall tapered bit. It's one of my absolute favorites, and it's been my go-to for the last 3 years.
Okay, stop it right there. Cutsall makes some amazing stuff. They have their smaller bits. I've got a bunch of their smaller bits. I use them all the time. I highly recommend them things. If you've never tried a Cutsall, they're like laser beams. Yeah, and as far as the dragon's concerned, I really love the open mouth, the teeth. I love there's only one thing that kind of throws me off a little bit. So she's got the side of the face, and she's sunk the eyes deeper, and that allows the side of the face to like come out. The mouth looks, to me, now this is just my critique, the mouth looks twisted and open, but the side of the head is not pushed back and leaned back the way it should be to accommodate that back set of teeth. You know what I'm saying? So the top of the forehead where the eye is, the brow and everything, is not pitched back the way the jawline is, nor is the tip of the snout. Let's see if she remedies that as she goes to carve this. Maybe she'll pitch the brow over more to accommodate that, but that's the one thing that always, messes with people's minds when they're trying to do relief carving, is trying to get all those aspects right. And if you can only get 2 or 3, like if the head-on view looks great, it's money. If the side view as you come around looks good, that's another level. So let's see what level she's going to be at. Okay, right there in that view, you can see what I'm saying. Like it looks like the snout is pitched this way, but the brow is pitched like the snout is pitched backwards, so you can see the back jawline, and then on the top it's pitched more like this. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like I'm a carver, so when I'm carving, I'm always trying to fix my own stuff, and so that's how I understand this. And so when I'm seeing other people do it, it's sort of like, okay, this looks great, but there's something that's just not quite there. Let's see what happens. Nice. She's doing a technique I do, and I've been doing for 30 years. So when you do your stressed wood, like the antique wood frame type thing, and then I always looks like she's got a bit that she uses. What I did was I took what did I take? I took like a one of those nut drivers that you would put on a nut driver, and what I did was I hollowed it out, sharpened the inside, and then I wallow that thing around, and it makes these nice burnt looking rounded buttons, or what could be nails. And that's what she's doing. She's covering every base, and I don't know where she picks all this stuff up. Probably the same way I would, and I'd just look at other people's stuff and I borrow certain things, ideas. And because I know I'm not as good as 90% of the people that I admire, so when I try to borrow something, it never ends up looking like the thing that I borrowed from them.
So we're finally at that stage. We're gonna torch this guy, and I feel like that texture is gonna really pop.
That was pretty badass there for a second when she had that torch in the mouth and it looked like the thing was breathing fire. That's a 5-year-old in me coming out. That kid still runs around in there. But this is looking really dope. She has got so many layers of texture, different texture styles. You know, that lizard skin on the jaw, like on the flaps, like right here, that looks so badass. And then the big scales, and then she's got the horns and all the textures in the wood. Everything is kind of working. She's really got this, like, by the short and curlies. Pardon the pun. if you notice, I don't know how you can't, she basically masked off all the way around so she didn't get a bunch of overspray, because dry brush, it can get a little bit messy. But this looks dope. Like, this looks really dope. She's got a great technique. Man, some of the best painting I've seen, actually. Also, you'll notice she's not using pure white. Everything's got that patina to it, and I think that's really awesome. If you put anything pure white on there, I don't think it would, I don't know. I think it wouldn't work for me. I don't know. Might work for somebody else, but I know it wouldn't work for me. I love the way she patinaed the whole thing, and that's the style, and it looks old, even though it's brand new.
Well guys, thanks so much for tuning in to today's video. He's pretty cool, right? I definitely want to do more dragons. Super into fantasy and stuff like that. I just think it's so cool to be able to step outside of like the realm of reality, you know what I mean? And have a little bit more play in colors and anatomy and stuff like that. So this was a really fun challenge for me. So reach out if you want a dragon wall hanger, phoenix wall hanger, mythical creatures. I'm into that stuff, so yeah, hit me up if you're interested in something like this. So this guy, he's claimed he's going to a previous customer, which I'm super excited about. But yeah, hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
Wow, everyone, you need to go check out her web, or not her web page, but her Facebook page and her YouTube channel, TM Custom Carvings. And I just want to say that I'm super impressed with this young lady. She's unbelievably talented, and she does a fantastic job. Like, for her years, she's well beyond her years in chainsaw carving. I can tell you that. She's adapted very well. Normally if you can carve pretty good starting off, you can't paint for shit. Like, that's the way it works. But she seems to be able to do all of the above, and I think it's part of it is just from being fearless. Like, you're not afraid to try a new paint job, or what I mean. It's like you can paint over it. It's like no big deal. You make a mistake, you don't like something, repaint it until you find the thing that you like. Anyway, that's it for this video. Don't forget to check her out on her YouTube channel, and don't forget to like and subscribe and smash the notification bell on this channel. And I will see you on the next one.